Hi, I'm Kaylee, and this is my reading wrap-up of all the books that I read in December. I had a really great reading month in December. I read a total of 35 books. 23 of those were children's picture books, 4 were children's chapter books. I read 1 fantasy, 2 mysteries, 1 middle grade book, 2 nonfiction, 1 classic, and 1 graphic novel. Before we dive into all the books that I read, I'm going to reach back here to our Booktuber Shoutout book, and we're going to shout out somebody randomly. I only have a few left in here. There's only 4 left in here. Okay, today's shout out goes to Becky M. I will leave a link to their channel in the description. Be sure to go over and subscribe to them. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you had a great reading month in December. And be sure to follow me over on Goodreads and Instagram and Storygraph and all the places. So the 1 classic that I read was The Woman in White. I listened to an audiobook of it and really enjoyed it. I've already done another video talking all about The Woman in White, so be sure to go over and watch that video if you want to hear all about that fabulous book. I love it so much. This was my 2nd or 3rd time reading it, and I just love Wilkie Collins so much. I also read Agatha Christie's Murder in Mesopotamia, and I've already done another video about that one as well, so go over and watch that video to hear all about Hercule Poirot, one of my favorite fictional detectives. One of the nonfiction that I read was Bandersnatch, C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and the creative collaboration of the Inklings. And I've also done another video about that one. So those were like the big books that I was reading in December that were like, ooh, I have to do a separate video about these because these are the really good ones. I also read Jane and the Bark of Frailty. I've been listening to the audiobooks of the Jane Austen mystery series by Stephanie Barron and really enjoying them. Jane and the Bark of Frailty is the 9th book in the series. However, I didn't enjoy this one as much as some of the other books in the series. This one I only gave 3 stars, whereas most of the other books in the series have gotten 4 stars from me. In this one, Jane Austen is visiting her brother and sister-in-law in London, and a foreign princess is murdered. Jane is accused of somehow being involved, so she starts her own investigation in order to prove her innocence. So a bark of frailty is a polite high society term for a prostitute. And Jane discovers that one such woman who is highly placed in society may have the clue to the mystery. The thing I really like about these books is that it actually follows real, actual history that we know about Jane Austen's life. And then, of course, the murder mystery part is all fictional. But you do get to learn a little bit about this time period in history and a little bit about Jane Austen. And it's fun to just kind of imagine what might Jane Austen have been like with her family and hanging out with her friends. This is a really fun series, and I'm just going to keep right on reading the rest of the books in the series. I think I have 6 more books to go, and I'm going to be reading those in 2024. I read the 3rd book in the Woodwalkers series. I have completely fallen in love with the Woodwalkers series. This is about these children who go to a special school for shapeshifters. They have their human form, and they each also have an animal form. Our main character is Carrig, whose animal form is a puma or mountain lion. But this book also focuses on one of his friends, Holly, whose animal form is a squirrel. Carrig and Holly begin to investigate a bank robbery. They wonder if another shapeshifter, another woodwalker, might be involved. I gave this book 4 stars. I can't really tell you a lot about it without being spoilers for other books in the series, but I just completely love the Woodwalkers. It's so imaginative, it's so fun, there's all these adventures, really great character development. I cannot wait for the other books in the series to be translated to English. There's 3 more books in this series, and there's a spin-off series as well, and I'm just waiting for them all to be published in English. I read the first 2 books in the Great Mouse Detective series, Basil of Baker Street and Basil and the Pygmy Cats. So Basil is the Sherlock Holmes of the mouse world. He actually lives at 221 Baker Street and listens in where the human Sherlock Holmes is solving his cases, and he learns at the feet of the master. And then he uses that knowledge and he uses Holmes's methods to solve mysteries in the mouse world. And of course, he always has his trusty friend, Dr. Dawson, at his side during all of his cases. I have always been a fan of the Great Mouse Detective cartoon, and when I found out that it was actually based on a book series, of course I had to buy the entire boxed set. And I'm going to be reading through a bunch more of these as well. Both of these books are just really fun, really adorable, lovely illustrations. I just love it. It's so charming. It's just so adorable. The rest of the books in this video are books that I received for free from a publisher in exchange for a free and honest review. So I actually ended up DNFing The Song of the Siren. This is about Voran, who meets a mysterious pilgrim, and he is sent on a quest to find the Song of the Siren so he can save his nation. This is exactly the type of fantasy that you would think that I would love, but I just got bogged down in all this really heavy symbolism. Now, I like a little bit of symbolism, and the whole reason I picked up this book is because I heard that it has a lot of Christian themes. However, the writing just became very dense. Every scene had the same dramatic intensity. And after a while, all that symbolism just became kind of oppressive. But the world building is really rich and imaginative. You can really feel the weight of history in Voran's nation. However, it just felt like too much. I couldn't keep track of all the religious rituals and traditions and beliefs and national monuments, and even just something as simple as a loaf of bread is not just a loaf of bread. Oh, it has to be symbolic of this and this and this in their history. I think other people would probably enjoy this. It obviously is well written, but I just wasn't in the mood for such a dense story. So I ended up DNFing it after page 85. I read the graphic novel To the Ice, although I'm not sure if you can call it a graphic novel, because it's more like an illustrated, I don't know what you call it. It's like part graphic novel and part chapter book and part just an illustrated, I don't know. It's text and pictures, and that's what it is. These children are playing by the creek when they step onto a patch of ice, a shelf of ice. Then they float away down the creek, down the river, out to sea, and finally they land in a world of snow and glaciers. They discover an abandoned cabin where they take shelter, and they have to learn how to survive through the winter. I really liked the poignant writing style of this book. It's a very straightforward style, but really powerful. They have all sorts of adventures, and finally they make it back home. This was really, really lovely, and I gave it 4 stars. And those are the books that I read in December. Please leave me a comment and let me know what were some of your favorite books that you read in December. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.